Welcome
Welcome to the Empress
to the
and the
Empress and the
Fool.
Fool.
I'm Sarah Ditmore,
And I'm Kaitlyn Gulock.
and we're here to discuss all things magical and mystic from the perspective of two curious witches. Whoa. Someday we'll have like an audio editor who adds cool sound effects there.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say something so inappropriate. Um
I'm
I'm
here
gonna say
for
it
it.
anyway. I'm
Yeah,
gonna say
please
it anyway. I
do.
think I think I like blew my load on the making the intro music and I was like, all right, I'm done.
Like, this is my audio capability. Thank you. Did not
Honestly,
think about the fact that my mom listens. It's fine.
sorry.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Brenda.
Brenda. So in my past life,
hmm
welcome to the podcast, but we're just going to go right into it. In my
Yeah,
past life, I used to be a singer-songwriter.
I believe
When
that.
Sarah used to knew me, Sarah used to know me too back in those days.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
you mean
have
liter you mean metaphorical past life. I thought you meant like a
metaphorical,
literal past life. I was like, oh, cool. On
dude.
this podcast, you never know.
I mean, it's very appropriate to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's very on brand.
Yeah.
But no, in my metaphorical past life, in my real life, I used to be a singer-songwriter in a band in Scotland. And that used to be very much a part of my identity. Now that I'm
Yeah.
in nursing stuff, like no one knows me in
Yeah.
that capacity anymore. So it's really weird. They're like, you sing? Like you do medicine stuff. I'm
That's
like,
me with
yeah.
travel out here. Like I used to be known as like the traveler, and it's like, oh, you like go to all these
Yeah.
countries, you do all these things, and then I got settled out here, and it's like nobody knows, and it's like my little secret.
Yeah, it's like it's really weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have Ableton, which is a music production
Okay.
software, and I started doing a course where I could learn more about it. And then
Cool.
I just like ADD normal self, I was like, I'll just do it. I'll just learn it on my own. So I had to like resurrect that skill to make that little
The little intro music.
interesting. Yeah, and it was like I was so exhausted after it was like it was really like for anybody who's used to this program, it was probably not a lot.
Yeah.
It was probably like super easy, but I was like, I'm so
But in,
tired.
in true ADHD fashion, you decided to learn the thing while also doing the thing for a
Yes.
like deadline that you had to produce something by.
Yes, I did.
Well, it's a
And I'm
great,
not
our
gonna
intro
change.
music is great. Our intro music is fantastic and courtesy of Kaitlyn.
Thank you.
But what I'm hearing is that they are not available for hire should you need music production.
You'll have to pay me a lot of money
Yeah, valid.
to get this brain to like do something.
Yeah. Yeah, to give enough dopamine to be like, okay, I guess.
Yeah,
Speaking of
that's worth it.
dopamine,
Yeah.
I went to Berkeley over last weekend for Charlie's 30th birthday, and
Nice.
I got two little purchases that I've been wanting to text you about forever and been holding off for the podcast so that the listeners can enjoy.
Show
Um,
and tell. Show and tell.
the
Mostly
first,
tell because we're an audio medium.
the first is this little sticker.
I love him.
He's a
It
little, oh, go
is,
ahead, you describe it.
I was gonna say it's so cute. It's a little cartoon sticker of a ghost with a purple hat on backwards that says boo with a little thumbs down.
Yeah.
I love him or
I
her
like to
or
think he's
them.
going boo.
I didn't put that together until you said it.
Yeah, it's like thumbs down because they're like boo, but they're also like boo because they're a ghost. It's a pun, Galen.
Stop, I love that so much.
And then the other
I
thing
love
I
it.
got
Yes.
is these, oh, how do I even show them? I guess I'll keep them in their box. Teeny tiny Dungeons and Dragons dice that are like kind of the trans colors, but like all tie-dye. And
I love
like
those.
for reference, the D20 is the size of my thumbnail. Dice everywhere.
And Sarah dropped the dice, but there's
Okay,
no
I got an
ASMR.
18, so we can't be mad about it.
Yay! That sounds like a
But
success to
look
me.
how
That is
tiny they
really
are.
sweet. That is
I love them
so
so much.
small.
The other day, Charlie and I couldn't decide what to do, and I was like, wait, I have a solution. Then I told him pick odds for this and evens for that. And then I rolled the dice and we got an even. And that's like how we made our choice.
I love that. I love that
So
so
this is how I'm
much.
using my Dungeons and Dragons dice thus far.
Yay. I miss playing D&D so much, honestly.
Ah,
I just texted my partner and his friend who both live in Montana, so I've been
yeah.
wanting to start a group with them virtually, which I know is really hard to like not be at the same table, but at the same time there's a lot you can do over chat, so I've
Yeah.
been wanting to like resurrect that very much. And I actually just bought my friend who unexpectedly visited me here
That's
yesterday.
so fun.
I bought him his first D&D set.
Ah, adorable.
Yeah, it's like this really pretty, like kind of almost radioactive green, kind of almost translucent E color.
Okay.
And he was like, "Oh, that's Baja Blast flavored." And I was like, "Yes, it is."
Okay, wait, I'm writing down right now for like, I don't know, like our 1 year anniversary of this podcast or something. We need to play. I have this game my brother gave me forever ago that I still have not played because I've not yet found someone to play it with me. But it's a two-player role-playing game where you are two witches trying to do a seance and like you're summoning your dead friend to solve the mystery of how they died. And I think you and I need to play it. And like, I have two. So he gave me that. And then the other one is a group game that is like a minimum of 3 players,
Okay.
where the dungeon master is like the game, or there's a game master. And then there's two, like at least two people, but it can be multiple people who are
Mhm.
trying to like flee. They're being like persecuted as witches and they're trying to like escape through the woods. But instead of rolling dice, you pull tarot cards. And that's how you figure out like what you try to like do what you want to do. And then you pull a tarot card and the game
That's
master decides what happens based on what card you pull.
that is the coolest thing
I
I've
know.
ever
So we need to play both of
heard.
these games at some point. I'm writing it down right now so I don't forget.
Oh, please. Okay, so Sarah and I have already planned our podcast like into the next year. Because we sat down and we started doing it. And we're like, what do you want to
Because
do for next episode? And then it just kept on going
we're
and going.
neurodivergent.
And we're like, I'm locked in right now. I am ready to plan into my next metaphysical life, how many podcast episodes we're gonna
Yeah.
do. But scrap that. We're playing that today,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
Well, let's look at the
literally
calendar because
now.
I think we need to. Maybe the seance game for Halloween.
Seance game for Halloween. Yes.
Okay, okay.
And I also have I'm just gonna give a little sneak preview of it because you just mentioned it. Boop, 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 boop. Dungeons and
Dungeons and
Dragons
Dragons
tarot
Tarot
cards,
is
which
beautiful.
I haven't used to read
Yeah,
yet.
we sell it at the local bookstore, but I haven't gotten a deck yet. But I'm really excited for our review of that one.
So I got them at the local shop where I got my friend his tarot cards, or sorry,
Okay.
friend his dice.
Yeah,
I got this there. It's called the Wizard's Chest in Denver. Shout out to
incredible.
them. It's where I want my ashes to be scattered. And when you come and visit me, we are gonna go there and spend far too much money. They are 100% like the best place I've ever been to. So,
Amazing. Oh, that
yeah.
reminds me. I got the sticker and the dice at Games of Berkeley, which is a fantastic game shop in Berkeley. It's huge and they have all the best games.
I love game shops. They have the best
Yeah.
people working there too,
Yes.
like
Oh my
the
God.
biggest nerds.
Yeah, and like
Uh,
all gender non-conforming, especially in Berkeley, but like, oh, it was such a good vibe. I was so happy. I felt so
I
safe
made the
there.
I know. I made the mistake of going around Halloween. And so they're a costume shop on the first floor,
Hmm.
basically.
Hmm.
And the lower floor is all games and game rooms and an
Wow.
escape room.
Why not? I mean,
Why
honestly,
not?
probably the same audience.
It's
You
all the
know,
same.
like,
They know their audience and
yeah.
they've reeled me in. But I made the mistake of I was like, oh, I want to get a game for me and my partner to play. That's just like maybe like we love doing like mystery detective games.
Mm.
So you get like a little like box and it has like a bunch of files
Hmm.
and clues in
Yeah,
it and
I
you have
did
to
this
like
at a game
solve.
night recently where it's like kind of like a
So
mini
fun.
escape room or like murder mystery dinner party, but it's like in a
Yeah.
box. Yeah.
It's the best. It was so fun. So I was like trying to find something like that. And I made the mistake of asking for the opinions of the workers there. And
And 2 hours later,
I had a banana tell me, because it was Halloween, so it was a man dressed in a
oh,
banana
got it.
banana costume, explain to me the difference between like 5 different games. And I was like, you're so sweet. I just need
Just pick
one.
one, please, and
I
hand it to me,
just
and I
need
will
one.
buy it.
but they knew everything, all the rules.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Incredible. Oh,
Um,
fun.
before we start
Okay.
our Austera episode, so this episode, we haven't given any indication of what it's about yet.
Oh yeah, we just started too excited to talk.
We just live excited. Um, so couple things I wanted to like plug slash talk about. So show and tell
Yeah.
time for Kaitlyn. One is um so my partner and I have a Twitch channel
I
where we
didn't
play
know
games.
this.
Yeah, so we didn't really like know what to do with it. So we live long distance right now. We love
Mhm.
playing video games together. And our Twitch channel is called Comfort Creatures, comfort underscore creatures.
Oh,
Yeah, so while we were apart, we wanted to play games together and figure out a way that we could still like connect like that. And we figured let's just start a Twitch channel just for each other.
yeah.
So the other day I saw this really cool game called 7 Days to End with You. It's an indie game on Steam. It's like $8. It's so worth it. Um, and so I just started streaming me playing this game so my partner could watch me play for the first time,
Oh,
even if he like can't be right there next to me. And
yeah.
I just streamed earlier today and I've had like some people comment and help me out, which is like so cool because
Oh
I'm
my
not a
God.
content creator like that.
Do you love
This is
it? Is
like
it a good game?
it's so okay. Let me geek out about this really quick. It's a game about language.
Oh, good.
So,
Yes, love it already.
yeah, so the premise of it is that you have amnesia and you don't know where you are and you don't even know what language this is. So there's this girl who takes you into her house
Hmm.
and all of the text is just random symbols. And she's talking to you and you have no idea what she's saying. So you have to put
Hmm.
together, there's like very little to no guidance on
I feel
what
like I've
words have
heard of
what
this. This sounds
meanings.
really familiar.
Yeah, so she's talking to you about different things, and then at
Mm.
some point, she kind of indicates to you, like, hey, if you point at something, I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
And you can see, like, where you've seen the words pop up before. So, based on how you play and how you interpret the story changes.
Oh, wow.
It's very cool. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. So, if you want to see me, I'm like not a streamer.
Yeah,
I'm like
yeah.
barely even a podcast. But if you want to check it out, I'm just like a happy little gamer. I got a little spooked, so I had Sora, my puppy, on my lap playing with me, and it was really fun. So, yeah, I'm gonna probably do that a little bit later today.
Okay, comfort underscore creatures.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Oh, cute. Thanks. Um, I think that's kind of it for my new stuff.
Should we dive in? Should we talk about spring?
Let's dive on in.
Okay.
Um,
So this podcast is going to come out like either the day before spring equinox. So we thought it would be fun to do an episode all about spring magic and, different spring holidays and spring equinox celebrations, as well as some of our favorite like rituals and ways to honor spring.
Yeah, but the day we're recording is much earlier, and it's
Yes.
actually a much more important day than any day of the year. It's Sarah's birthday
It
today.
is. We're recording on February 25th, my
Yeah.
32nd birthday. I love
Happy birth
birthdays. Thank
Happy
you.
birthday, Sarah.
Thank
Do you
you.
know what's really be I realized what day we were recording, and then in my head, neurodivergence, in my head, I was like, Happy birthday, Sarah. And then I didn't talk to you yet, and I realized that I haven't said it, and
Oh
I
my
am an
God, story of my
asshole.
life. You're not. Thank you very much.
So, Sarah, even though we're recording about the spring in the future,
Yeah.
this kind of feels like the perfect time, like new
Yeah.
birthday, like new year, to talk about like the kind of
Yeah.
like new year of the rest of the world,
Yeah.
or like the
Like
kind
the
of like
witchy New
more
Year, yeah.
witchy new
The
year is
seasonal
spring
New Year,
equinox.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I even asked, I was like, Sarah, are you sure you want to record this on your birthday? And she was like, I would love nothing more.
Yeah, this is exactly where I want to be on my birthday. And I woke up with like
Yeah.
a terrible sore throat, so I had to cancel a bunch of work and stuff. And so I'm
Oh,
glad I'm doing something fun on my birthday instead of just sitting around downing tea and medicine and hoping I feel better.
oh. Well, hey, whenever you come out and visit, I'll send you back with some of my partner lives on a farm and they keep bees. So I'll
Mm,
send you back with some of his farms and his family's honey so
thank
you can put
you.
that in your
So
tea.
I can retroactively fix my throat.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it's like I get sick all the time. Like Charlie was joking. He was like, "Oh, well," I was like mad I was sick, and he goes, "Well, it has been 2 weeks." And so I mean, I
The
will need it. I will
shade.
need it again. So
The
I
shade.
know
I don't
we
know.
we joke all the time that one of these days some doctor is going to figure out some like chronic illness because I have the worst immune system of anyone I know.
You needed to eat more dirt as a child.
Clearly, clearly.
I'm kind of the same. I work in healthcare, so like
Yeah.
kids are
Yeah.
nasty and they just get stuff everywhere. Anyway.
Oh
Um,
man.
so for
Anyway,
birthday celebrations, we're going to be talking about spring. And then it's
which is
also
also
cool.
appropriate because Kaitlyn's birthday is in the spring. And so
Yeah.
it feels like, which I'm sure we'll talk about when the time comes, but it feels like a nice little melding of our two energies.
Yeah. So it's spring equinox, which is the time when I mean pretty much everybody knows. But it's the day that the nights and daylight become equal.
Hmm.
Thank goodness, because I hate long nights. I have depression and anxiety, and it doesn't help. So spring equinox comes and I'm like, hell
Yeah.
yeah, bring on the sunlight. Um but it's also the start of Aries season. Again, Sarah and I have said that we are not astrologers. We are not astrology people. We think it's like really fun.
Hmm.
But that's not like our main bag. And
Yeah.
it's also called Austera. Am I saying that
Yeah. So
correct?
I'll talk about that more, but yeah.
Like yeah. Yeah, so
Cool.
welcome to the new year.
So welcome to the new year. Yeah, I think that's something, looking before this episode, I did some research on like spring equinox traditions and
Mhm.
celebrations throughout countries and cultures.
Mhm.
And I think it's really interesting how many of those are around New Year. Like you have quite a few different countries where this spring equinox is also their new year. It is like the Thai New Year, it is the Persian New Year, which is celebrated in Iran and a lot of other Middle Eastern countries. Um,
Mhm.
so I think it's very common for that theme of like New Year to be associated with spring equinox instead of January, which I think is really cool.
New Year's in January always has felt really like strange to
Yeah.
me. Like we have a lot of in Japan, we have a lot of New Year's traditions for like December 31st, January
Hmm.
1st. But kind of like vibe wise, it
Hmm.
just feels nah, it doesn't feel like festive seasonally, weather-wise.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't
Yeah.
feel
And
new.
that's just it, is that like the thing that spring symbolizes and like the spring equinox represents is like new beginnings, rebirth, new life, and that is so aligned with like New Year energy to me. So
Hmm.
I definitely personally consider like the start of my year to be the equinox.
Yeah, this is like all well, Sarah's birthday is like a happy like start to I'm like, oh, shit's gonna get good. Like we've survived
Yeah,
January, we've
yeah,
survived pretty much all of February at this
yeah.
point, and now we're just
I know
w willing
that's
it to be
truly how
sunny.
spring equinox feels for me, especially living out here in Tahoe where like we have snow throughout March.
Hmm.
It really does feel like the turning point of like, okay, like there is still like some remnants of winter where I am up until like mid-April, but it's like, okay, we're
Hmm.
turning the corner. Things are going to warm up. Things are going to start blooming. Like the sun is back. And that's really the theme of spring equinox. It's like the sun has
Yeah.
returned. Like and if you think back to like, where a lot of these traditions of like pre-Christian celebrations come from, it
Mhm.
was a time of like, okay, we're like using up the last stocks of our food and now we can start growing things again. And like the
Yeah.
animals are gonna start like giving birth and therefore we can get like milk from them again. And like everything starts to kind of awaken and open and like you can start getting even just like
Mhm.
foraged food again. And it's just like all of a sudden there
Yeah.
is life again.
Yeah, everything comes out of hibernation and
Yeah,
oh, it feels so good.
it feels
Um,
so
we've
good.
we've actually been having 60-degree weather here, so it's hard for me not to,
I
at this
know.
point in time, which is much earlier than spring equinox, it's hard for me not to be like, it's here already.
I know when I was prepping for this episode, I was like, oh yeah, it is spring. And I was like, No, it's not. It's global climate crisis."
Yep.
But we're gonna focus on the like energetics of spring that come with March 20th. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I did some research just looking into the origins of Ostera and like so Ostera is a term often used for spring equinox.
Mhm.
It's actually like a Wiccan holiday, so it wasn't even created until the like 60s, 70s.
Mhm.
But I'm going to talk about like some of the different holidays that other cultures celebrate around the spring and then kind of dive into Ostera and spring equinox as we look at it today.
Mhm.
So yeah, so just like a quick overview, some of the holidays that I found around spring and what I think is useful about this for my personal practice, like looking at the way other cultures celebrate the spring equinox, as well as like my own lineages and cultures that I come from, helps me to kind of understand the different themes and energies around the holiday. And so I wanted to kind of share some of these just so that we could look at how much overlap there is, which I think is really fascinating.
Mhm.
So one of a common one that a lot of people know of is Holi, which is a festival in India, the Festival of Colors. It's the one
I
where they
didn't
like,
know that's when it was.
yeah, so it celebrates the end of, well, neither did I, but it celebrates, let's see, like Holi 2025 is going to be March 14th.
Oh, okay, so that's so close.
Yeah, so not all of these are on spring equinox, but they're all like March, April. They're all around that
Right.
time. And so it's considered the Festival of Colors, and it's celebrating the end of winter and the beginning of spring. Some traditions include lighting bonfires, throwing gulal, which is the like color powder,
Mhm.
singing, dancing, and feasting on like treats and other goodies.
I feel like it's probably like one of the most like like I feel weird saying this, but it's like one of the most like photogenic
Oh, yeah, with all the bright
holidays.
colors,
Bright
absolutely.
colors. It's the one you see like really frequently of people throwing like basically what's like powdered chalk
Yeah,
almost.
yeah.
It's like this powder and it's just chaos,
Yeah.
like chaos of colors
Yeah,
being thrown
exactly.
everywhere.
And
So
I
it's
think
like,
like there's so much when we get into this of like weirdly there's a theme of throwing things, but it's like throwing out
yes.
like it's a big because I do think like there's this overarching theme throughout all these holidays of like we did it. We made it through winter and it's kind of this like raucous celebration of like huzzah, we're alive. Like
If the famine
yeah.
didn't get us, if the starvation didn't get us, if the depression didn't get us,
Hmm.
bitch, we're alive. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it's just so common though.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
seasonal affective disorders
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. And if you look at where a lot of these originate from too, like disease was really common in winter
Mm,
because you're stuck inside and like
yeah.
don't have the resources that we have today. And so it really
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, we made it to spring. Like the season of death is over, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so some other fun traditions. So in Thailand, they celebrate Songkran and it's the Thai New Year. And they, for that, water is a really big theme, and they take
Hmm.
big like bowls and jugs of water and just throw water on each other and on themselves. And
I
it's
love that.
symbolizing washing away the old year as well as calling in rainfall for the coming season.
Oh, I like that a lot. That makes a lot of sense. I
Right?
mean, it's like the time of like kind of getting your fields ready, planting
Right.
things, like
Spring
throwing
cleaning,
water.
spring clearing, like literally
Mm-hmm.
cleansing the old energy.
That's very cool. I didn't know that was a thing.
Then Nowruz, which I'm doing my best to pronounce these. I apologize if I mispronounce any of them. Is the Persian New Year, which is celebrated in Iran, but also elsewhere in the Middle East and Central Asia. And This to me felt so witchy in that they put together a ceremonial table with 7 different items that represent spring. And it's an apple, garlic, vinegar, dried fruit, sweet pudding, sprouts, and sumac. And I was like, oh my God, they're creating a little like offerings table.
Yeah, that's witch
Uh-huh.
coded. I love that.
And often they'll also decorate it with coins, colored eggs, and goldfish. Eggs
Hmm.
are a big theme, which we'll get into. Like eggs are all over the place in spring.
I love that. I'm looking
Which,
at a picture of the Nowruz table, and
yeah.
again, I'm so sorry, I'm not pronouncing that right. That is so pretty.
Uh-huh.
That's so cool.
I know. When I used to work for League of Kitchens, which if you're listening, well, obviously if you're hearing this, you're listening. But League of Kitchens is a League of Kitchens is an organization that offers immigrant-led cooking classes in New York and online where you learn the home recipes of immigrant women from around the world. And one of
That's
the
amazing.
instructors is Persian. She's from Iran, and she used to like send photos of her table, and it was always, I mean, I'm sure she just still does. I just don't work there anymore, but it's always so epic.
I love that so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually have some I have some Persian family, and some of my best friends are Persian as well. So maybe
You
we
gotta
could
ask
have
them about
them.
it. Yeah, have a little
I
Nowruz
know.
celebration. Oh,
Yeah. That would be
fun.
amazing.
Okay, so continuing on, a few others, which also like, so this next one, okay, wait, I wrote this out phonetically. Simboriada, which is a Bosnian celebration that celebrates the first day of spring, is just a giant scrambled egg festival.
Oh my God, my dream.
And I love how much eggs are in here because it's like, eggs are a symbol of fertility and new life and like very commonly associated with spring. But it's also
Mhm.
logistically like when chickens start laying eggs again. And so it's like people would be like, that'd be their first food in the spring. It's like the eggs are coming back. And
That
so I
makes a lot
love
of
all the
sense.
celebrations that like raise up the egg.
I love, I mean, I've said this before, breakfast is my number one love language,
Yeah.
and I have a theory that's been controversial that you can put eggs on anything, any savory dish you can put an egg on and make it the same, if not most of the time better. So
Okay, interesting.
all of these celebrations are very up my alley. Invite me to a scrambled egg
So are
party.
you
Like,
like
oh,
would you put a fried egg on a pizza?
100%. It belongs
Interesting.
there.
Interesting.
Fried egg on a burger, a scrambled egg with a steak. I don't really eat steak that much, but like
I'm just fascinated because my
eggs with
relationship to
all
eggs is like sometimes I'm in the mood and a lot of the times I'm not. But I see this
all
for
the time
you.
I am.
I see this for you. I had a friend in college who wanted to open a restaurant. I think it was just called Egg, and it was all going to be different egg dishes was their vision.
Did it and it didn't happen because can
No,
I be an
no.
investor?
You could be potentially. I don't know that that's still their dream though.
That's my dream now. That's my dream. I'm taking that dream. Like,
Okay,
sweet.
I'll come eat at your egg diner.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so looking at a few more, in Holland they have the flower parade, which also is like a spring celebration where they make huge floats out of all the flowers that are blooming that time of year, a lot of like tulips and other spring flowers. And it's like the parade goes through multiple villages, which I think is really cool. I know.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
it's just like,
They like travel the country with their floats of flowers. I
that's
have a friend who lives in Holland, and
amazing.
I'm like, oh, I need to go visit around that time.
You're like, are you free on March 19th, 20th for me to be
I would
there?
like to suddenly have enough money to fly to Europe, and then I'll come visit.
Magically, I would love enough
Yeah,
money.
yeah, that'd be
Thanks.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Uh,
Or if this podcast gets big enough, somebody sponsor us to go see all these
ooh,
festivals.
yeah, we could do a little report of like witchcraft in the modern day. Like, where is the magic in all of these festivals?
I love that.
Okay,
I
listeners,
love
new
that.
assignment.
We can
Pay
be like one of
us.
those, we can be like one of those celebrity. Okay, sorry, total side note, but have you seen the rise of like celebrity cooking travel shows?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we could be that, but for witches. Like,
I love
let's
it.
find the
Yes.
global witches, and instead of a National Geographic thing where they go and try dishes
Yeah.
everywhere, which we would eat
I feel
everywhere.
like the BBC could be convinced. This feels like
I
their
think they're a little
vibe.
too stuffy for witches,
Well, they have a whole
but
podcast called Witch where they basically do that throughout the UK.
okay, hire us, BBC.
Anywho, moving on. In Egypt, there's Sham al-Nasim, which is the Monday after Easter, but it's more of like a welcoming in spring holiday than it is anything Jesus related, from what I could tell. Um, and it's what they do is they decorate and write wishes on hard-boiled eggs, and then the eggs are
Yes.
hung outside in hopes that the wishes will come true.
I love the egg theme.
They're like in a basket. They're in a basket, and then the basket's hung outside.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I realized I
I
saw your face, and I was like, they don't just hang eggs from like the ceiling.
yeah, I was I was so curious. I was like literally just about to Google that, right,
You're
which I
like,
will
how does
anyway.
that work?
Um, but I also have questions about the smell.
Well, I don't know how long they leave them up.
I don't know.
Because
Well,
like Easter eggs are traditionally hard-boiled eggs. Like the plastic variation is quite modern.
yeah. Oh my gosh, these are really cool. Okay. Yeah, look up photos of this Sham El Nassim.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
so
wow,
sorry.
yeah, those are beautifully decorated.
Those are so cool. I see this a lot too. A lot of like fish and eggs as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which is a good combo. Very cool.
And then in Bulgaria, we have, oh, I love this one. It's called Martinista, and it's named after Baba Marta, which is Granny March, who brings the end of winter and the start of spring.
Yes.
And people make these little like red and white bracelets that they wear, and then on Martinista they like trade like swap them with each other like Eras Tour style, and then and then and then they take them home, and then they like as they're like going about their day in the coming days, whenever they see their first sign of spring, so if they see like a blooming tree or like a sprout coming out of the ground or like a bird, a spring bird or whatever, they'll take their bracelet off and hang it in a nearby tree. And so as spring gets started, you start to see these bracelets hanging all throughout the trees to like welcome in spring. I
I
love it
love
so
that.
much. We have a Bulgarian friend and we need to like co-op her
Yes.
holiday with her.
100%. I love that. I
So
also,
good.
so our mutual Bulgarian friend actually came over and spent Christmas with us.
Oh.
And her, like years ago, and one of her traditions, because it's like it's such a diverse and interesting like part of the world that
Hmm.
has so many different influences, but also its borders have changed so many times.
Mm.
Um so when she came over for Christmas or celebrated Christmas with us, she did this thing that was like almost akin to the Mardi Gras tradition with the bread and they bake a baby in it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like a little
Like
baby figurine, not a
yeah.
literal baby. And like whoever gets the slice of the king cake with the baby figurine in it is like
Hmm.
the Mardi Gras winner. I
Yeah,
don't
something like
know.
that.
So she had the same thing, but it was for Christmas, which they bake like a little coin into unleavened bread, which kind of like almost crosses
Mm.
over kind of like into like Jewish and Christmas or Christian traditions.
Yeah.
So we called it Bulgarian bingo baby Jesus bread.
Okay. Probably not the
And
real
whoever,
title.
yeah, it's not the title, but there's just like a lot of very like home
Yeah.
witchy kind of like very celebratory like fun sharing experiences that I really love to hear.
Yeah. I
That it's
love
not just
that.
like you celebrate with yourself, it's like you exchange these bracelets, like
Yeah.
you share bread with people because it's
Yeah.
you kind of know who the winner's going to be of the baby Jesus bingo bread
Well, and I
if you're just
love
by
that
yourself.
so many of the holidays are about like getting out of the house, like,
Hmm.
like winter's over, you've been inside, like it's a time to come out, gather in community. Like I visualize very
Yeah.
like town square type celebrations where it's like coming
Yeah.
together to like throw water or throw the like colored powder or like exchange bracelets and like
Yeah.
I think that that's a really beautiful aspect of a lot of these like spring equinox celebrations or spring celebrations because I feel
Yeah.
like that is very much like the energetics of like shifting from like the hermit, the inward, the self-reflection, just trying to get
Yeah.
by to like being with the community, participating in something bigger than yourself, like energy of
Yeah.
spring. Yeah.
Dusting off your social cobwebs and like going and
Yeah.
talking to your neighbors. I think that's like
Yeah.
it's so common for us
Yeah.
to like look inward.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh,
Okay, last two, and then we'll get into Ostara. Li Chun, which is a Chinese celebration for the spring equinox. They also will decorate eggs. But they have a game where they try to stand the egg upright. There's some philosophy I read. It's like because of the like magnetism of spring equinox, like equal day, equal night, it's supposed to be easier to get your egg to stand upright. And
I've heard that too.
if you win, you have good health and good luck for the rest of the year. And then I
And it's
wanted you to
another
share
egg.
the Japanese tradition.
Yeah. So we have one in Japan. It's not around the same time as these other holidays.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually on the 2nd of February, so it's already
Oh,
passed.
so it's more like Imbolc.
It's more like in bulk, but I did want to mention it because it does have like a very similar energy to all of these other celebrations as well, and it's called Setsubun.
Hmm.
It's yeah, like a month and a half, a little too early for the rest, but I did want to mention because there's a couple other spring traditions, excuse me, a couple other spring traditions that are really interesting that I'll mention after Setsubun, but in the kind of same tradition, um, it's a bean festival and it involves throwing them, as is the tradition of spring,
Yeah,
just
throwing
throw shit.
shit.
So you get a bunch of soybeans, and
Okay.
they're like dried or roasted soybeans usually, or sometimes raw. They're just kind of like tough to eat.
Hmm.
You're supposed to eat the number of soybeans as how old you are. For good luck and good health in the next year. But it's like so fun for kids because there's this like, it's this kind of story about bringing in the good fortune into your
Mm.
home and casting out the demons. So
Yeah.
we say like, Oni wa soto, fuku wa uchi, which is like Oni is demons, soto is outside, and fuku is good luck, and uchi is in your home. So
Oh.
it's like yeah, it's kind of
It's like a
that
little
same.
spell. It's like cast out the
It
demons, bring in
is.
the luck. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have adults, and I never got to do this, but I hope to do it with my future children one day, which you dress up. There's like adults who dress up in the fuku mask and an oni
Mm.
mask. So one is like a really pretty lady, and the other one is
Mm.
like a red horned demon, and you throw beans at the demon, who is some poor adult in a demon mask.
Is
Are
that
you
the
looking it
demon?
up?
Well, that's the emoji, right?
That is the emoji, yeah. So everyone
Yeah.
has seen this demon mask, and it's that mask that some poor adult who's gonna get pelted with soybeans.
Oh my God, I can just see the kids freaking loving this.
There are beans freaking everywhere. You're just throwing them, and it's like a time for spring cleaning, and it's a time for getting that energy out of your house.
Yeah.
Which used to be one of my favorite holidays.
Oh my God, I love that.
But one of the really popular holidays around this time that we're actually talking about is the Sakura season. So it's when all the sakura are in bloom,
Yeah.
and the sakura are the cherry blossoms in Japan. They all the timing of it has been really hard to predict. And that's when
Hmm.
tickets to Japan are the most expensive because it's
I'm
so
shocked.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, it's so beautiful to see. It's kind of hard to predict with global warming when they're gonna blossom.
Yeah.
It's kind of getting earlier and earlier now. But it's around like March or April. And there's something we do called hanami, which is
Mm.
everybody gets. some tea or some beers or a picnic blanket and little snacks, and you go sit in the park and look at the flower blossoms. And that's like a spring activity that
And just like
everyone does.
appreciate.
And
Yeah.
just look at flowers.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
hana is
that.
flower and mi is to look. So
Flower looking. I love
flower,
that.
just flower looking. And it's like
Oh,
a thing that you would do with your friends. Like, hey, do you want to go like hanami? And you just like sit on a picnic blanket and look at flowers.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
dream. We have a
Um,
cherry blossom where I used to live in New York, and Mowgli and I would do that. We'd just go sit on the bench, and Mowgli is my dog, and we would sit on the bench
yeah.
and just
Ooh,
flower look.
it's so nice. And my favorite thing in the world, because I was born on there is usually like one day where the blooms are at best, and that's actually the day that I was born.
Oh,
Which is really cool.
yeah.
Um, but my favorite thing is when the petals, it's like so bittersweet. So when the petals start to fall and it just looks like pink
Mm.
rain, and that's my favorite thing in the
Mm.
world. If you were in the US, Washington, D.C. has cherry
Yeah.
blossoms that were sent from Japan, and
Mm.
there's a festival out there, and it's so worth it. If you can't
Yeah.
get a ticket to Japan, it's too expensive right now. Um, but yeah, so worth it. And then I guess this last tradition I can speak to very well.
Okay. Which one?
Uh,
Easter?
Easter,
Which
yeah.
on my notes I wrote Easter, and then in parentheses for all of my notes I wrote the country it's from, and in this case I wrote Easter, the Christian need to take over pagan festivals.
Absolutely.
It's celebrating the resurrection of Christ. For me, growing up, Easter was plastic egg hunts and Easter baskets and like the Easter
Mhm.
bunny, very secular, but I'm interested to hear your experience.
Actually, funny thing too, I was also born on Easter.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
I
okay.
was born on Easter Sunday, so I make the joke that I am the resurrection with my family, and they do not like it.
Caitlin, I love you, but I do not associate you with Jesus Christ.
No, I don't really look no, there's
You
not
don't
a
have
lot.
you don't have a lot of like Jesus energy about you. I guess you
Well, I
are
never
like very yeah, I guess you do have a little bit of Jesus energy, but
I'm a very nice person,
you're
but
of the
I
people
do
for the people.
yes. But yeah, with it's totally a tongue-in-cheek joke, but like
Yeah.
whenever it comes up and sometimes it does overlap that my birthday is on Easter again because, calendars and whatever. Um when it does land on that day, I do kind of go around and go, I have risen. It's so bad. It makes me laugh and it makes my family
It's so
slightly
good.
uncomfortable.
It's so good.
Anyway, so Easter is on a Sunday, and there's a lot of other festivities around it too, which I am less familiar with, like
Yeah.
Good Friday, Palm
Yeah, I don't
Sunday,
know.
another
Is Ash Wednesday
uh
also Easter related?
Ash Ash Wednesday is also Easter
Yeah.
related. So it's Ash Wednesday. So basically it's a time from Ash Wednesday. Wait, let me look it up. 2025. So Ash Wednesday starts the month before. So it starts
Got
March
it. And
5th
that's when
this
you do like
year.
Lent?
That's when you start Lent. So I
Yeah.
actually noticed it a lot. I forgot this was a thing, but Ash Wednesday is you get like a little ash mark on your forehead and a
Yeah.
cross. Um And so, if you're wondering what that is with people, it is like a very witchy tradition to
Yeah.
do, like putting ash on your forehead. And it's basically you make a promise to give something up. And usually it's something like a lot of people do meat. Some people do drinking. You
Hmm.
just like give something up to show your devotion. And then on
Hmm.
Easter, you're allowed to do that thing again.
Yeah, it's like a little
Um,
practice of sacrifice and yeah.
Yeah, it's a very yeah, very pagan-y tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah, colored eggs, going to church in the morning.
Hmm.
That was my tradition a lot.
Well, and I think it's
Yeah,
funny because the even the name Easter comes from like an Anglo-Saxon goddess called Ostra, which is like the Germanic goddess of spring and dawn and new life and new birth,
yeah.
rebirth. And so it's like, there is this tradition of Christian holidays that are
Mhm.
mapped onto like pagan holidays to make it easier to get people to celebrate them basically when they were trying to change people's religion. And so it's
Yep.
like, okay, well, we have, our own story of rebirth and new life and
Hmm.
like resurrection. So let's just put it on your guys' holiday of rebirth and resurrection and even use the same name.
There was like a Christian pagan secretary who's like, okay, will Easter work for you?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how does this
What are you
overlap?
doing on the last Sunday or third Sunday of April or whatever? I don't know how Easter is actually calculated.
No, but it's so sometimes it's in late March, sometimes it's in early to mid-April. But the theme is all very much the same. It's all about like resurrection,
Oh my God, even
forgiveness.
the date is witchy. It's the
What?
first Sunday after the full moon that occurs following the spring equinox.
That's witchy as fuck.
That's so witchy.
I
So the
mean, it's
secretary, like, it was like the Christian secretary and the pagan secretary were sitting down, and she was like, okay, well, we can't do spring equinox because that's too witchy. What if we do
that's
like
taken.
April 21st? And they were like, well, what if we do this? Like, it has to be on a Sunday. So how about this Sunday? And they're like, okay, but it has to be the full moon. And they're like each arguing their side. And then they landed on, okay, first Sunday after the full moon, after spring equinox.
We got it. Totally easy to remember.
Totally easy to remember and not at all confusing for schooling systems trying to plan their spring break.
You're like, it's gonna be in a different month every year.
It's
So don't even
fine.
worry about it.
Amazing. I love that so much.
But
And
it
then
sounds like all of the traditions are pretty like similarly messaged.
yeah, I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of themes of like rebirth, casting out the old, like calling in the new,
Mhm.
celebrating like growth, new life, like fresh starts. And then yeah, by the time the pagan or the Wiccan traditions came around, which so the Wheel of the Year, which is where a lot of these holidays get canonized in like witchy community, right? Is a
Mhm.
Wiccan creation. And Wicca was like 60s, 70s, and it was basically like a neo-pagan movement
Mhm.
to return. And we'll do a whole episode about Wicca. There's like a lot to unpack there. But it was basically this like neo-pagan movement to like return to these traditional practices.
Yep.
But it was also like very 70s energy, and then it's just a lot of like pulling together random traditions from random cultures and making their own like witchy calendar. Uh,
Yeah.
and so when
I
you
love
go
it so
through like the
much.
Wheel of the Year, it's like, oh, that's Celtic. Oh, that's German. Oh, that's and but it like all still kind of works.
Yeah.
So Ostera is what the Wiccan like Wheel of the Year calls the spring equinox, and it comes from that same name, oyster or like oyster. I don't know. My German accent's not very good, but
We also
uh,
have German friends to call.
we do. We're called Toby. We like Toby. How do you pronounce this name?
So we love us.
Um, but it's that Germanic goddess of spring and dawn, and so that inspired the name Ostera, which is a holiday of fertility, rebirth, renewal, spring. A lot of things that are used to like symbolize Ostera are like rabbits, eggs, like lambs, spring flowers, daffodils, tulips, that kind of thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
so we'll get into kind of some of the ways we like to celebrate spring.
Yeah.
Um, but basically, some of my recommendations before we get into like our personal spring stuff, is just like to do some research into like what is your lineage, so what were the ways that your culture celebrated spring equinox and like how can you bring those traditions into your life in a way that feels aligned?
Mhm.
A personal favorite example that I want to try this year is I've been connecting more with my like Slavic ancestry. And
Mm.
in like Russia and Poland and a lot of Slavic countries, there is the tradition of the butter lamb, which is carving a stick of butter into a lamb, and then you
That is
treat,
delightful.
right? And my favorite thing about it is that so you then like eat treats, like your baked breads and whatever, and you put the butter on it, and it is the like polite manners to start with the butt of the lamb and end with the head.
Okay, just really quick for our listeners, Sarah showed me a picture of a butter lamb, and I can see the notes. And I saw butter lamb. And I was like, instantly I went to like Indian food, like a curry.
Right, right,
No,
right.
no, no, no. What Sarah showed me is akin to like a Lindt chocolate bunny. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
The
The chocolate
Christmas
bunnies
gold
that
bunnies?
people give for Easter, like the chocolate bunnies.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is for Easter. It's not for
Yeah.
It's also it is for Easter, not
And you
Christmas.
get
What am
them
I
like
saying?
you get the turkey version for Thanksgiving, like the little
Oh, there
chocolate
is one.
animals. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So it looks like that, but it is a horizontally oriented giant stick of butter that is in the shape of a lamb.
Yeah.
That is so cute.
It's so cute. So I
And
really
it's
want
like
to try to make one
wavy,
this year.
it's like wavy textured and has little eyes and a little red ribbon around it. Like,
I
what
know.
the
They even
heck?
put a little like red flag in its booty as a tail.
Stop, that's the tail.
Yeah.
And that's where you start from.
Yeah.
Oh my goshness. Holy mother. Okay. That is so cute.
Yeah.
That is so cute. I'm
I
dead.
know. So yeah, so I think like looking up your traditions, eggs are a really common one in a lot of traditions, whether painted and decorated with, or scrambled, or eaten hard boiled. Like
Hmm.
working with eggs is a really common one. And then another one I found that I loved is in Greece, they would throw clay pots of water out their window to ward off bad spirits.
Love
And then
that.
the broken pieces are collected and used as like a charm to protect and bring in good luck.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, so that's my like we'll get into our personal like spring rituals and celebrations, but I think like um taking time to research like your traditions and
Yeah.
the spring deities and spring celebrations that are associated with your culture and
Mhm.
your lineage to learn those traditions and start to integrate them into your own practice is a really beautiful place to start.
Yeah. And if you even if you're not Japanese, you can throw beans at people consensually. Why
Just
not?
no, no, just walk around town throwing beans at people. That's what I'm envisioning.
You
Just
have
that
my
you're a bad
explicit.
spirit and you're a bad spirit.
Well, yeah, I mean, why not? If somebody's pissing you off at work, just start throwing
Yeah,
beans at them.
yeah.
They will leave you alone.
I mean, probably, yeah.
Yeah,
So now
foolproof.
that we've talked a little bit about like the spring equinox, I think we also wanted to talk a little bit about like the zodiacal energy of spring. So I'm going to pass the torch to our resident Aries to give us a little
Carefully.
insight.
I realized I keep on forgetting that this is an audio medium, pretty much, except unless you're watching our YouTube channel. But
All
hair
nine of
flip.
you.
Yeah. So I am an Aries baby. Um, I always struggled with that growing up. I think we talked about this on the first episode, but I always struggled with it because when you were reading like old shitty like Cosmo horoscopes and stuff, it'll always be like, Aries, you're such a hothead. You're kind of a bitch. And I was like,
You
oh,
like to fight.
you like to fight people. You have a bad temper. And I was like, I don't really subscribe to, and I'm like, don't really fit that category. I'm
No,
just a
you're such
baby.
a
I'm a
softie.
baby. I'm
Yeah.
such a softie. I avoid conflict.
I'm just a
And I'm just
baby.
a baby. Um, but the more that I've researched about it, the more that I've learned about it is that, like, yes, that can exist, but a lot of the Aries energy is about like being excited. It's about having a lot of passion and a lot of creativity and a lot of
Mhm.
fieriness. And I think a lot of that is because Aries is the number one, like the first astrological sign of the new year. And so
Yeah.
that is March 19th, March 20th, the start of Aries season, and that's the start of the astrological calendar. Um, so a lot of where that energy comes from that kind of maybe gets misconstrued as like
Mhm.
hot-headedness or a temper is just like creative energy. We love
Mhm.
saying yes to things. We love starting new projects. We love getting excited.
Yeah. And it's like that spark, like with that whole spring theme of like fresh
Yeah.
starts, new beginnings. Like there is such
Hmm.
I always think of the Aries energy of oh, what if I did this? What if I did that? Like there's all these like fresh
Yeah.
or like it makes me think of the Ace of Wands. I always associate that
Yes,
with Aries.
totally.
Like a
Totally.
spark, a new idea, new passion, new creative endeavor,
Hmm.
like always being inspired.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of energy and it's a lot of like it's a lot of great energy and it's really tough to harness if you let it get away from
Hmm.
you, which is um why like some of these things are Well, some of these things I'm going to suggest are like maybe some good spring rituals to do from one Aries to all of you.
How to work
Um,
with the Aries energy. Yeah.
how to work with it, which is like sometimes really tough to do because it is, I don't know, like sometimes that coming out of hibernation is a wonderful thing, but sometimes it's pretty overwhelming.
Hmm.
So I kind of organize these into like mind, body, and soul.
I love that.
Yeah, so for your mind, very spring energy is to like start setting some goals and some intentions that you want to grow. Um, I think this is not just for Aries and it's not just for astrology. I think this is just good for like whatever we've been talking about, this new year, new spring energy.
Yeah. Yeah, like what
Um,
seeds are you planting? Yeah.
so it's a lot of like great stuff like the sun is out longer. We're out of hibernation, but being able to actually like say what your plans are and what your intentions are for this next year, or even just this next month if you can't see
Mm.
past maybe the next month. Just having an idea of like where you want that energy to go and setting that
Mhm.
intention for what things you wanna tend to. Um, this kind of goes along with a lot of the spring cleaning kind of energy, which
Mhm.
is write a list of things that you've been putting off and start to just check them off. Just do it.
Mhm.
I have a note, like a task list, just like full of things that I haven't wanted to do, like returns or calls or setting up doctor's appointments. Like it's a great time to just have that energy to like
Yeah.
get shit done. Just knock them off so it's not
Yeah.
on your list anymore. Do
I
it.
feel like this is like getting real nerdy here, but I feel like with that being such like an Aries energy of like just go ahead, like
Mhm.
getting it done, like right, Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is like the get
Yeah.
shit done. Uh
Mhm.
like write the list and then like make time on like next Tuesday because Tuesday is Mars and it's ruled by Mars to like
Oh, I like that.
harness that Aries energy, right? It's Aries season, Mars
Hmm.
day, like make your list and then sit down on Tuesday and just like crush it with all that Aries, like harnessing that Aries energy to your advantage.
I feel like it's like a lot of that thing. I don't know if you get this as well, but I think you're definitely more organized than I am, but I sometimes I like have a list of things that I have to do, and then I'm like, like blackout, like completion mode, where I'm like,
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't remember, but I'm like calling everyone, replying to every email, doing everything, and then you just like at the end of it, you're like, what just happened? Oh, I think I just
Where
did
did
all
I
those
go? What
things.
just
I just did it. Oh my gosh, like, oh, I'm conscious and like all these things are done. Wow,
look at me
amazing.
go. I'm such an
Look at me
Aries.
go. Um, Another thing you can do for your mind, which I really love this one, is speak your mind and stand up for yourself. Which is it's just like trusting yourself, and this is something I have a hard time doing, but um, it's like a good time to like set boundaries and to say what you're thinking. We've gone through the hibernation part of just like being inside, being a little hermit, and now maybe it's a time to just like say how you feel about things. Like,
Yeah.
why not take a chance? Don't be mean, don't be a dick. You'll know if you're being a dick, but you should like say what you feel.
Yeah.
And more often than not, it's probably going to be something that needed to be said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so for body, I'm talking about more physical things. Obviously spring cleaning is a huge just thing for, I mean, it has the
Yeah.
word spring in its name. But it's a great thing to do is just clear out the old, dust off the
Mhm.
cobwebs of being like in your blanket with your tea, clean up your tea bags,
Oh
wash
my
your
God, yeah.
mugs.
Clean up all
Um,
the like debris of winter.
Yeah, clean up the ashes out from the fireplace after like cuddling up there for so long. Yeah, just like start getting rid of
Mm.
things so you have more room and more energy to do new things. And that's something
Yeah.
that I absolutely have to do. Just like it makes it way easier. It's like I think that's winter is that like kind of like hoarding,
Yeah.
like comfy cozy
Oh,
time.
totally. Blanket like nest mode. Yeah.
Blanket nest mode, but maybe it's a time to like put away winter clothes so you just have like
Hmm.
access to your spring clothes or like put away books or projects that you've kind of finished or been
Yeah.
sitting on and leave like make room for new things to grow.
I love that.
Yeah. Um, I love this one. Take yourself out on a date.
Mm.
build a cute little relationship with yourself. I think that definitely for me, it's so easy in the winter to just be like, oh, it's fucking cold outside. I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
that. Um, but I don't know, just like go and get your favorite meal, take yourself on a cute little date, or if you're not comfortable doing that, take your friend on a cute little date. Like get
Mm.
outside, get out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Be romantic to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then last for body, I have move it. Move your body, dance. I think a lot of parts of these like pagan rituals as
Oh my
well
God.
is
Yeah, it's like get the
dan
energy moving. Yes.
energy. It's dancing and lighting stuff on fire is stuff that they love to do. Like
So real. That comes up a lot. Yeah. And
uh,
throwing shit,
and
apparently.
throwing shit. But yeah, I am notoriously not a good dancer. I've been told I dance like a goose or like the used car lot
The
blow
wacky
up
wavy
dolls.
inflatable arm man.
Yes, that's how I dance, but do it. Move your body, get those bones moving. I think it's just getting shaking up a lot of stagnant energy.
Yeah, yeah. I love
Yeah.
that.
So like dance in your room by yourself. I've been doing just dance workouts because it's been freaking cold
Incredible.
outside.
Yes.
Yeah, Just Dance has been really, really fun and it's really good for you. There's actually,
Mm,
somebody said there's a lot of trauma that we hold in our butts.
mm,
So twerking and moving your
okay.
butt is actually like really good for releasing a lot of tension
That's
energy
awesome.
there. Because a
Yeah.
lot of us just sit a lot for our
Yeah.
jobs, and that's where like
Yeah.
things all
Cool.
settle
Yeah.
and get, yeah. So move your butt. It's actually good for your brain
I
and
love
your body.
that.
And then for your soul, this is what I love. Dress up.
Yeah.
Part of spring cleaning that I love those memes of like I tried to clean my closet and then you walk out like wearing every most ridiculous thing.
You're also a Leo rising, right?
I am a Leo rising,
This
yeah.
this is very Leo rising energy of like, let me just try on every outfit I own and see how good
Yes.
I look and show off how cool I am. Like
Yes, I
I'm
love
also a Leo rising, so no shade. I do the same thing.
where there's this meme that I saw recently. And also, sorry, I keep on itching my nose because it's 60 degrees and now all the pollen is freaking
Uh-huh.
out. Um, anyway, I saw this meme that I cannot stop thinking about, which is guy a guy and girl, I think they're together and they're cleaning out their closet together and he puts on this hot pink fur coat
Oh my God,
and they're doing
incredible.
spring cleaning and he like puts it on. He's like, "This is a keep. Going to the grocery store, going on a date, going to my meeting, like
Yeah, yeah,
I'm that bitch." Basically,
yeah.
yeah, just like try stuff on, play dress up, have fun with it, wear some ridiculous clothing, wear some stuff that's like a little out there. Who cares? Wear it to the
Yeah,
grocery store. Like, no one cares as much about you as you do,
yeah. Let
right?
that fiery like freshness in. Yeah,
I always think like you're an NPC in everyone else's life.
yeah,
So do it. It doesn't
yeah,
matter. Yeah, like try on new fun makeups, bright colors, for
yeah,
your soul also. Get excited. Get
yeah.
fucking jazzed about things. That's where I exist in most of my life is
Yeah,
just
that's
like
Aries
excited.
energy to its core. Yeah.
Yeah, just excited like about new projects or people or TV shows
Mhm.
or things that you like just like live that little like child brain unabashedly.
Yeah, I love that.
Um, and then last one, just like you okay?
Yeah, fine.
Um, just like be willing to start new projects. Like just
Mm,
learn a new skill, start a new thing. It's a great time to start a new habit. Um, and who cares if you stick to it? Just like try new things. I don't know.
I
Like
love that.
The one habit you should stick to that Sarah is doing that I'm not is drink more water.
Oh my God, yeah. I have to because otherwise I'm going to cough through this whole podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry. Um, and then let's see. So, oh, I didn't write notes down here. Whoops. Um, but so Aries energy, that's what that's all about. But kind of like looking forward from that, each zodiac season is only about a month long.
Hmm.
So what you have to look forward to next in mostly May is Gemini season. Gemini is an air sign. It's my dad's sign.
Oh, nice. I didn't
Um,
know that.
Yeah, he's a sweet little Gemini. It's a lot about communication. Air sign is about like learning, connecting, kind of like building new skills. So it's a lot about like learning and communicating new
Mm.
things. And it's kind of like before, I don't know, it's like before the like summer stuff. Wait, isn't Taurus in March? Did I flip these around?
Taurus season is April 20th to May 20th.
Oh my gosh, I flipped
Gemini
them around.
season is May 21st to June 21st.
I flipped them around. Never
That's
mind.
cool.
Let's go back instead of after. Okay, after Aries is Taurus, not Gemini. I was like saying it and I was like, I don't think that's right. Anyway, after Aries season, we're gonna like ground down into our Taurus earth sign. Taurus is all about like indulging and enjoying. Tauruses love like the classic is like love good food, good wine, good friends, good sex, good indulgences,
Mhm.
like looking at good art. Like, yeah, I think it's like a really good time to ground from all of that new energy stuff is to like enjoy it. Um, like those new things that you learned, that new energy that you had, like ground yourself and actually like living it and enjoying it. And then after that, because I didn't talk about Gemini stuff before,
Okay, I was trying to
um,
find the name of this book real quick about Taurus.
yeah.
I think it's called The Pairing. Yes, The Pairing by Casey McQuiston is
Hmm.
if you want like pure Taurus energy, this book is basically just like about eating good food, drinking good wine, and having good sex all across Europe. And it's queer.
Oh,
And it's queer.
I love that.
Yeah. So just a
That
little
is
like Taurus book recommendation for
That
you.
is incredible. Because, like, I mean, if you're like blazing through everything, then you never really get the chance to like sit down, slow down,
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's important.
It's like the
Um,
pleasure. Yeah.
yeah, just like letting it soak in, take yourself for a
Yeah.
spa day. And then after that, in May, kind of going into June, then we have learning and communicating, connecting, kind of in that Gemini air energy, which is
Yeah.
like more making like intellectual connections.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what you kind of have to look forward to after that,
Very
and we'll
like
talk about it.
communicative, very like
Yeah,
dissecting
cerebral.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get into that as we like get closer. I don't think
Yeah.
we're really gonna get into like astrological seasons as they turn because
Unless we
that'll
feel like
happen
it,
every
but yeah.
unless we feel like it. But yeah.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah.
So that's a little bit about like the spring energy, the zodiacal energies, and then to wrap it all up, we just wanted to offer you a few different spring rituals, spells, practices to help bring the spring energy into your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of my
I didn't add a lot of stuff. I think I forgot to like write
whatever.
stuff down, so I have stuff to add, but
Okay, just like whenever you have one, just be like, and also this.
interrupt me?
What? Never.
Never interrupted in my
You and
life.
me, we would never do that.
I'm
We're so demure.
so mindful.
Okay, so one of my favorite like rituals or spells that I like to do in the beginning of the spring equinox is where I plant new seeds in an eggshell. So
Cute.
I take little eggshells, I clean them out, and then I put soil and I put like a seed in it. But then like inside the eggshell, before I put the soil and the seed, I write my like intentions. So I write my intentions on the eggshell, and then I like put the seed in, put soil in, put the seed in, and then like water it. And I like to use like blessed water. So I'll like get water from the lake and like put it on my altar and like preparation, and then I'll like
Aww.
pour my little blessing water on it and like ask that the intentions might like come to fruition. And then every time I water the seeds, I try to like think about those intentions and like think about water, how I'm watering my intentions. uh
Cute.
and then like as they grow and as they start to sprout, I'll like move them into a bigger pot. And because what's cool about eggshells is like, it'll you can use it to hold the soil and the seed, but then once it starts to sprout, you can put it in a bigger pot still in the eggshell, and the eggshell will dissolve and add nutrients to like support the seed. So that's a little ritual I like to do to like take tend my intentions.
I
That's one of my
love that
favorites.
so much.
I know.
That's
Um,
really cute.
I have another little ritual I like to do, but do you have any spells or rituals ideas?
So this is actually something that I do for people on a regular basis.
Okay.
My coworkers all think I'm insane, and I am. You're right. But when people have had a really hard day,
Oh, I feel like you've explained this in our first episode, but go ahead. It's a good one.
yeah, I love doing this for people. I again, very Empress and the Fool. I like make up my own
Hmm.
stuff that I do, and I'm like, it feels good, so I'll do it. Definitely in my field of work, and for a lot of people, sometimes we just need to what, like,
Yeah.
what is that? We need to just like,
I call it potatoing. Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes you just like, you've gone through something really hard. You've done something really hard. You just have a bunch of like sticky, icky energy on you, and you're just like,
Hmm.
ugh, like don't wanna do anything. So I
Hmm.
just do this thing for people, and I do it consensually. Practice consensual witchcraft.
Agreed.
Don't spell on people.
Unless you're cursing someone. Fuck those people.
Then they had it coming.
Yeah, true.
So what I do for people is I'm like, let me just do a little like quick little ritual for you. I was like, can I cast a spell on you? And they'll be like, yeah, what is this bitch doing to me? And I'll just like take their shoulders and I'll just kind of like brush it off. I'll just do like a cute little like
Mm.
brush off and I like kind of like if you're like just dusting off.
Yeah.
Um, and then, yeah, I'll just kind of say, like, hey, we're taking away this like negative energy that's clinging on to you. Like, we're just kind of
Mm.
doing the sweeping motion of, like, hey, that thing was making you feel not great. That thing is hanging on to you. That bad experience is kind of like
Yeah.
really clinging to your clothes and your body. So, like, let's just wipe it off. And then I like just give them a
Yeah.
little hug and tell them something nice about themselves or something that I admire about them. And they like hug it. So I'm like squeezing it in.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it just makes people feel a little bit better.
And I
Like it's
feel
a
like you could
little
do that for
person cleaning.
yourself, like brushing off the like winter energy and like
Yeah.
literally you could even use like a dry brush or like your hands and like brushing off the winter energy and then like giving yourself
Yeah.
that hug. I love that.
Yeah. Or like just taking a really mindful shower of
Mhm.
like just yeah, I
Washing
think
it
that's
off,
just
yeah.
but not just like going in the shower and being like,
No, like a spiritual shower, like a
I
spiritual
used
cleansing
Irish
shower.
Spring and I'm
Yeah.
clean now.
I will say
Like
the prayer, I will say the prayer like sacred, like grandmother water, like wash away what doesn't serve, wash away any sticky, muddy, cloudy, clingy energy that I no longer want, so that I may be clear and fresh to receive what is yet to come, or something like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then also cleansing wise, I put in here an egg cleanse because eggs are such a big part of spring, right? And
Mhm.
so this is a practice that comes from curanderismo, which is a Latin American spiritual uh, school of thought, and it's where one of a lot of like people I have studied with and worked with uh, are trained and where their practices come from. It's an open practice, so anyone is welcome to study and use the practice regardless of their heritage.
Mm.
And so basically you take a whole egg and you rub it all over your body, like get naked like you're gonna take a shower and like top of head, face, neck, back of neck, like whole arms, armpits, every part of your body you're touching with this egg. And then you've fully done it. It's supposed to help absorb like the negative energy. And then you crack the egg into a glass of water and you leave the glass of water under your bed. And it's supposed to continue to like pull out and remove the like negative energy. If you have pets, you can leave it like you can put a little cover over it or something. But and then once you feel that it's done, you just throw away the egg and like flush that out and clean the cup. And I recommend for stuff like this, like for cleansing rituals, like having your own cup. Like don't then later drink from that cup. Like I have my spiritual tools that are for like cleansing and practicing, so that it's not like, oh, my cup that takes all the bad shit, I'm now gonna drink from it. Like it keeps the energy separate. But
Yeah, that's like a
that's a
weird time.
yeah, yeah. So that's a cleansing ritual I like to do that I thought was very spring themed with the eggs.
I
And
love
the
that.
cleaning, like spring clean, it's like literally spring cleaning.
Initially, I did think you mean like just like rub egg all over you, and I was like, I'm
I
kind of
do
into
something
that.
like that with lemon. I like just
Oh, that's
lemon,
nice.
like yeah, we'll talk about that in the summer, but Uh,
Yeah,
I've got a lot of lemon rituals because my ancestors loved lemon.
I do love lemons
Also
as well.
like on the note of spring cleaning, so that's like spring cleaning for the body, but I also
Mhm.
like for like practical magic, I call it like house witchery, like house and home, or like
Mhm.
hearth witchcraft or hearthcraft.
Mhm.
One of my favorite spring rituals that I like to do right around spring equinox is to open every window in my house and take a
Oh,
broom, and I use like you can use any broom, but I use like one of those Trader Joe's like cinnamon brooms that's like really tall, and you go around and you brush all the energy out the windows and like push the negative energy out the window. And then while I'm doing this on the stove, I have a simmer pot going that has lemon, mint, anise, and sometimes I'll put salt in there as well to like cleanse the energy in the house. And a
I
simmer
love
pot
that.
is just, oh, thank you. A simmer pot is just a pot of water with different herbs in them, and
Mm.
you simmer it, and you can simmer it like I will simmer it all day while so usually what I'll do is combine with this with a deep clean of the house and physically clean the house and then energetically clean it with the broom. And then the water you can use either to wash, you can strain it and then use it to wash the floors, or when it's cool you can throw it over your body to like wash yourself.
Cute. That must smell so good.
I do it all the time, and I do different things depending on the season and the energy that I'm working with. But every single time, it's like you walk into the house and the whole house smells like whatever's been simmering, and it's
I
the
love
best.
that. Oh, oh. So I have like kind of a similar thing that I really love. I last, no, not last summer, 2 summers ago, I did go to India,
Hmm.
for a wedding, and there was just the most gorgeous smelling place in the
Mm.
world, and it was jasmine, rose, and orange blossom.
Oh.
It was so delicious, and it really just reminds me of spring.
Yeah.
So kind of like house witch wise, um, so I like put it in a spray bottle. I like got home, I bought all of these things on like essential oils on Amazon. Don't buy from Amazon, but I did, whatever. And I put it in a bottle with rubbing alcohol or vodka if you have some
Okay.
around, just like any alcohol. And then I actually like sprayed a lot of my things that are not washable easily. Like
Mm.
pillows, like the comforter, not the comforter like duvet cover, but
Right,
the
right, right,
actual
right.
comforter, or any clothes that are like dry clean
Mm.
only. And then I'm like, I'm
Mm.
not gonna go to the dry cleaner. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do
Dry
that.
clean
So
only means never cleaned.
I mean, don't clean it ever. Don't let it touch water, and it's gonna be ruined if you try to do anything with it.
Yeah.
But I take all of those and I like put a steamy shower on. And so I let
Mm.
it get like a little bit warm and I get like steam shower and then I spray it with this like jasmine, orange blossom, and rose. I've
Oh,
been doing a lot of like jasmine and orange blossom just together because it's just such
yeah.
this like flowery,
Oh, it sounds
clean
amazing.
smell.
Those are two of my
It's
favorite
so
smells
nice.
too.
It's
Oh.
so nice. Combine it and then put it in some alcohol for a disinfectant, and then you can spray your
Mm.
clothes with that, and it just has this like delicious smell, but you're also cleaning things that you normally don't
Yeah. And like I
have the
love that kind of stuff
stuff to
too, because
clean.
you're cleaning it literally, but also like all of this, you're cleaning it energetically as well and like freshening the
Yeah.
energy for the season to come.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I stole
love
a spray
that.
bottle from my dad and he's like, can I have that bottle back? I was like, no, it's mine. Like
It's my craft. It's part of my
it's
craft.
and I'll like spray it around the house and he's like, okay. I'm like, doesn't it smell great? Like
Embrace
he's like,
this.
okay. Calm down, Kaitlyn. I'm like, no.
It's like I just built my big like boveda, which is like my big altar for my ancestors and my good spirits, and I just built it like in my main part of my house. And my I was like talking to Charlie. I was like, "Is this okay? Like, does it bother you? Like, because he's not really into all this stuff." I was like, "Is it in your way? Is it cluttered?" And he goes, "Sarah, this is not an unfamiliar sight to me. Like, you have been doing. I've been with you for 9 years. I know this world. You're good." I know what I signed up for.
You're like, I see pictures and crystals and shit. Like, yeah, it's probably
Yeah.
Sarah's stuff.
There's
Like, I'm not gonna touch
9 glasses of water and a bunch of candles. Like,
it.
sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fine. Just don't touch it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Speaking of which, if you do work with spirits and you
which
do ha well, speaking of which,
Okay, sorry,
Fun.
go on.
Um, if you do work with altars, so I have a lot of altars. I have like my Bovida, which is my main altar, and then I have a few different altars for different spirits and work that I do. This is a really good time to refresh your altars. So I like to fully clean
Hmm.
them, like take everything off the altar, scrub the table. You can use like a cleaning like this, the jasmine and orange blossom. You could use
Hmm.
like Florida water, rose water, like something energetically cleansing to like deep clean the surface. Wash the altar cloth or like spray it with the same kind of energetically cleaning water, soap and water, cleanse all the glasses, refresh the candles, like reorganize, put fresh flowers out. Like it's a really good time to just totally clean and refresh the
Hmm.
altars. And it's like energetically changes everything for me. Like when I refresh my
Oh,
altars, it's like, oh, everyone feels so good, everything feels so fresh. Um,
oh,
so I like to do that. And then some offerings I like to leave at the altars this time of year are fresh flowers, particularly spring flowers, eggs. They can be decorated or just any form of egg. Uh, like fresh herbs I like to put out, like for herbs that are growing this time of year. Little baked goods, dairy, anything that symbolizes like I have a little lamb or rabbit symbol. You could put wool, watercolor art I really like to put out this time of year.
oh.
Make them little watercolor pictures. It feels very spring to me.
Hmm.
And then pastel colors, so candles, ribbons, decor that are in like pastel colors, particularly greens, pinks, blues, yellows, and purples, are all things that you can leave at the altar this time of year to kind of honor spring with your ancestors and good spirits.
I love that. And I do
Yeah.
know that we have an altar episode planned for the
Yeah.
future, where probably mostly Sarah, because Sarah and I probably have very different altar practices. I wish I could show you right now. Mine actually have a an impression of my own teeth on them that I got from the dentist.
Incredible.
So I think we have like very different
Yeah,
altar
yeah.
situations, but we'll definitely talk about that more because I think it's a really it's so deeply personal, but it's
Mhm.
also I think like kind of confusing to start
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
people. So we'll definitely talk about that in the
Yeah.
future. Um yeah, I think also in Japanese culture, I think like spring is definitely a time to go visit your ancestors. So like
Mm.
go visit graves. That's like something that's super common is to go like set up a picnic at a grave and like
Mm.
go say hi. Go say hi
Yeah.
to your ancestors. And if you can't physically go there, just like it's nice to just
Say hi at the altar.
acknowledge, yeah, say hi at the altar or like for people in your life who have passed away. Like winter is a really big time for kind of like spirit realms to be more open. That's why like Halloween is such a huge time because it's like, oh, spooky and dark and like reflective of all these kind of like what we think of like scarier, darker, like sadder
Mhm.
energies. But as kind of like spring comes out and we're spending more time in the light and more time living and more time like tending to our living things, I think it's a good time to check in and like think about your ancestors, think about
Yeah.
people in your life who have passed away, like
Yeah.
think and think of them fondly and like wish
Yeah.
them the best because you're gonna spend this next couple of months like just living in the sun.
Mm.
Not to be forgotten, but just
Yeah.
I guess just to say like, hey, catch you a little later. I'm gonna be doing a lot of stuff that you want me to be doing.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think another of my favorite spring things in regards to like divination practices is I think it's a really good time to start practicing your ability to like read the signs of nature.
Hmm.
For me, winter is like peak traditional divination, like pulling cards, scrying, like it's
Mhm.
such a good time for that. But we spend so much more time outside and there's so much happening in nature in spring that I think it's a really good time to learn how to like observe and listen to that. So some of the ways I like to do that are like going for a nature walk where I leave behind everything. I don't even take the dog with me. Like I go just on myself and just walk and
Mm.
like talk to the trees, talk to the plants, talk to the birds, and just notice and observe and like get to know the land that I'm living in and how it's relating to spring. Or I also like to do a meditation where I sit outside and I sit in meditation and just like listen. And at the end of the meditation, when I open my eyes, I try to like write down the first things I see and like what messages are available in those symbols and signs.
I love that.
Yeah.
Aw. Um, I know we're talking about like divination practices right now, but I mean, there's so much of that we like talk about in divination, but
Yeah.
kind of along that same line, some of my favorite things to do during times of like being outside or being in
Yeah.
nature is being like curious about the things around because
Mm.
there's like so many new plants, so many new birds coming out, like migrating
Yeah.
back, and like there's so many different things. So my I guess this is just like kind of on the note of being mindful and curious. One of my favorite apps in the whole world is called iNaturalist.
Mm.
Um,
So
oh my gosh.
good.
You know it. I definitely
Yeah.
know you know. So it's an app where you can take pictures of plants, flowers, birds, animals, insects, and
Mm.
it'll help you identify what they are. So like I mean, being on your phone sometimes doesn't feel like mindful, but identifying and being
Yeah,
curious
I
about
do that all the
things
time. Yeah.
all the time. I love iNaturalist. It's a free app. I love them so much. And then I can't remember
Oh,
what this
while
one
we're
is
talking about
called.
cool
Oh,
nature
yeah.
apps, Merlin Bird ID.
That is the one that I was
Yes.
about to bring.
So good. You can
So,
record the sounds of the birds you hear and it'll tell you what birds they are. So it's great for identifying your local birds.
and it's really nice. I feel like it's really nice to tune in to have like a moment of like when there isn't construction going on or when there aren't people talking and just like kind of tune into, oh, I hear like different bird calls going on. I wonder what they
Yeah,
are. I have a lot of friends who are birders and I'm not one,
I'm
but
slowly becoming one.
it's fun to be curious about it.
Yeah.
So,
And then once you
yeah.
learn, like you can keep coming back to that. Like the other day, I was walking home
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my God, the chickadees are already out. Like the sun is changing. Usually this early in the morning, the chickadees aren't awake yet. You know, it's like all of a sudden you start to notice what's happening and like
Yeah.
learn how your local like nature spirits engage and interact with the seasons and the sun and the moon and like you get
Yeah.
to live in such greater rhythm with your land and your nature.
Get to know your local birds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't think I have any other like divination stuff except for, I mean, I
No.
guess like I think tarot spreads, I think we'll talk about um like tarot spreads for different purposes, but I definitely like I don't like looking too far with tarot. Like I don't like doing the year ones as much. I do like personally, because my like brain time span is not that long. Um, so yeah, I just like
Yeah.
kind of I like looking at things for tarot, like asking like what are things that I need to know? Like what are things
Yeah.
that I need to like go on this next journey?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
a great one for spring is like if you when you're setting those intentions, pulling a card of like what can I do to nourish this intention?
Hmm.
What can I let go of to create space for this intention?
Yeah.
Uh
I
things
like
like
that. What do I need
that.
to let
Yeah.
go of?
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
And then our
Um,
last little thing is, you know, with it being Aries season, it's a really good time to take action and get involved in your local community to let that fiery spirit shine through activism, through making change, to take part in protests, to get involved with a new organization, start mobilizing your community. So we both wanted to share organizations that we love, that we support, that we think people should be supporting, as sort of one last ode to how to encompass and embrace the spring energy.
yeah. And I think now is a time more than ever, then we need people to mobilize and to help out. And um, it's not always financially, even though that like money does go a long way, but if you can donate time or even just like tell other people or learn about things.
Yeah.
We don't all have the same capacity at the same time all the time. So whatever you can do
Yeah.
to at minimum learn about it, talk about it, but at maximum like go volunteer or participate or donate money if you have the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
judgment if you don't. So I guess Sarah had a great, oh, I can hear Soda whining right now, so I probably this is like a perfect time for us to wrap
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
But so Sarah had a list of kind of more a wider organization, like a maybe national or international one, and then a local one that we wanted to highlight. So the kind of national, international ones that I wanted to highlight were one, Planned Parenthood.
Hmm.
Go support them. They're doing a lot of great education. If you don't know what they're about, like, where have you been?
And
They
especially
do.
right now, where we are living in a country and a society that is trying so hard to take away reproductive rights, take away
Mm-hmm.
autonomy from women and bodies with vaginas, and like,
Yeah.
uh, it's really important to support and be present with causes that are working against that.
Yes, and not just reproductive rights, but they're also doing just general sexual health education. They're doing a lot of advocacy work politically, so support them. And then one that Sarah also supports is the Trevor Project.
Yeah, the Trevor Project is great. I used to do volunteer work with them for their like crisis chat line.
Mhm.
They have really great support, like 24/7 support for folks, queer youth who are in crisis. Both like calling and texting and chatting when you're in crisis to provide support, as well as doing just a lot of advocacy around queer rights in the United States, especially
Which are being
focused
challenged.
on, yes, and they're especially focused on youth, and their like main mission is to like eradicate LGBTQ suicide in youth, and like they do a lot of really great work to support that. And I know it's a cause that Kaitlyn and I have both had really personal experiences with and
Hmm.
care a lot about.
Yeah. So go check them out, go donate if you can, and yeah,
And then the
just
last one I
beautiful.
wanted to shout out is more of a local organization, but North Tahoe Truckee Homelessness Services is doing a really great job.
Mm.
Their goal is to eradicate homelessness in the North Tahoe Truckee area, and they're down to having 30 people who are unhoused in the area. So they're doing really great work.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of really great ways to volunteer with them if you are local. I do their lunch service regularly. They're awesome. So take a look at that.
Yeah. And then one local one that I have as well is called Joy as Resistance,
Hmm.
um, which is really, really sweet. They are an LGBTQIA, it says IA2 plus, because I think that
Yeah,
includes
Two
Two
Spirit.
Spirit. Hmm. So they are also for LGBTQIA2 plus youth in Colorado, who maybe need a little bit more support. Um, just like the Trevor Project, this group is just so vulnerable right
Yeah.
now, and the rates of like violence and self-harm and mental health crises is so high right now, more than ever. So they actually they have a big queer, little queer program that I've been wanting to volunteer for. Yeah,
I
so it's
love.
having I know. So it's they like help this youth connect to um health services, but they also connect them to just other kids just to make them feel less alone in the world. And
Hmm.
having the Big Queer Little Queer program reminds them that there are adults that you can and should grow into being,
I
and so
love
you can help other
that.
people. So yeah, so go look at them too if you're in Colorado.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, happy spring, everyone.
Happy fucking spring. Let's get it.
We'll end with a little tarot card pull for spring. So one card.
Am I
Uh,
doing one too, or you?
I was just gonna do one unless you also want to pull
No,
one.
no, no, you do it. I think I did it last time.
I think you did too, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so we're pulling one card Wherever you are, no matter when, where you're listening, this card is meant to resonate with you. I'm thinking maybe like just one card of how to embrace the new fresh energy of spring. And
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Is it this one? Yeah. Okay. Okay, not what I
I love
expected.
seeing you like listen to your guides.
Guides, yeah.
What? What?
We're like, yeah, huh? What? Okay. Not what I expected, but trust the process. It's been coming up a lot lately. So, 10 of swords.
Why did I have that? Okay, you better fucking believe me.
I
I
do. I
had this
always
in my
do.
head. I had this in my head. I was like, it's gonna be Ten of Swords. Like, I don't know why in my head I was like Ten of Swords.
Yeah. And I think even
Oh,
earlier when we were talking about tarot spreads, Kaitlyn, you said like, yeah, I really like that idea of like, what do you have to let go? Like, what do you have to let go of to make space for the new things? And Ten of Swords is a little bit of like a forced letting go. You know, it shows a figure on their belly with 10 swords in their back, and it is an
mhm.
ending that maybe you didn't want or weren't ready for, or came unexpected. But it is a necessary ending, and it is a necessary ending to clear space for what is to come. And so I think as we move into spring, there is this like radical honesty with yourself of like, what am I resisting? What am I not letting go of? What am I not letting end? That it's time to say goodbye to, it's time to put away, it's time to move out of so that I can create space for all the things I'm trying to grow ahead of me.
Yeah, I always call this like the backstabbing card. Like it's even though that it's like not always that exact energy, it's more about like this isn't your fault.
Hmm.
Like this isn't necessarily something that you've brought upon yourself, like of like I have to like I'm in control of this, I have to let go because it's like coming into your back.
Yeah.
But the thing I love about that card is like the golden horizon is that like darker skies are clearing and that there is something better
Yeah.
on that. There's a really gorgeous horizon and that like yeah, bad times are ending, good
But
times are to
it's
come.
making space for something better. Yeah.
I was literally just thinking, I was like, oh, it's not going to be something happy like the aces. It's going to be the Ten of Swords. I like, just said it in the back of my head, like, oh man, it's going to be one of those. And lo,
Lo and behold, I
lo and
have that
behold.
sometimes where like I'll be pulling cards for a client and my guides will start just showing me the cards in my mind. I'm like, okay, can we just pull them though?
You're like, all right, all right.
All right. Well, happy spring, everyone. We'll end with our little prayer. But we
Mhm.
wish you a happy, beautiful season full of new growth and new opportunities wherever you are.
And a season of just getting it.
Getting
Get
it,
it.
getting it
Get it.
on.
Get it on, get it right, get it good. Let's go.
Mm-mm-mm. We'll talk about
Hmm.
that with Beltane.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
anywho, as is above,
So is below.
as is within.
So is without.
Thank you,
I love you.
and blessed
Blessed
be.
be.